1001 Nights, how to make large language models into an ancient king and not break him. Yuqian Sun is an AI narrative researcher and artist based in London. She is currently a doctoral candidate at the Computer Science Research Center at the Royal College of Art. Focusing on the power of language, Yuqian aims to create alive storytelling experiences through conversational AI, extending beyond games and permeating daily life. Her explorations spans chatbots, games, and experimental art projects. Yuqian's works have been presented at various tech and art venues, including ZigGraph, CVPR, Gamescom, FDG, AIIDE, New York Times Square, and the Lumen Prize. She was also a guest panelist at NVIDIA GTC and an invited speaker at Autodesk. 1001 Nights is an experimental game driven by large language models in a playful manner. This interactive talk will invite you to play around with King Shahryar and share the behind development process. There's even 2 academic papers about it. So everybody, please welcome Yuqian Sun. Thank you.
Thank you. Let me change the mode.
She found me.
How to do this? Arrangement, Is it working now? Oh, okay. Let me see if it works. Yeah. How? Oh, it works.
My presence fixed it. Fantastic. You good? Okay.
Let me start now. Is there any note? How do I see the presenter? How to find the presenter notes?
Find the notes.
Yeah. How to?
So, okay. 1 second. New slide, content design. Shit, look, check it out. So here, there's
no.
Oh,
This is not one. How? Yes, how to?
Do you need Mac user help? Like, is this one?
I just want to find my presenter note, but I cannot find it here.
But because they're opened, right?
Oh, I think it's behind it. No, it's not behind it. Can I spend about like maybe 1 minute?
Yeah, sure. No rush. We'll find the notes.
Okay, I find it.
Yeah, great. So we're extending here. And
Okay.
these are your slides. You've got your notes.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think I can start now. Thank you for waiting. Sorry, it's taken a while to solve the technical problem. So, hi everyone, I'm Yuqian Sun. I'm the main lead behind the team Ada Eden. We developed the game 1001 Nights. I know it's maybe some of you aware of this is a game based on generative AI. I mean, if you have interest, it's fine to listen. If you don't have interest or kind of hesitate or skeptic or kind of against it, I still hope you can have a look, because I hope today I'm just gonna to share some ideas, my thoughts or my logistics behind it, and I hope to bring you some inspiration and more considerations about this game like this. So just a very little intro. So this is a game based on 1001 Nights. It's a folklore. It's a Persian folklore, merged many Mid-Eastern and kind of worldwide stories behind it. And I'm sure many of you have heard about it. But in this game, basically, you are the protagonist Shahrazad. You have magics to turn the words into the real equipment. But you can only make use of other one's words. So in this game, basically, what you need to do is you tell the story to the King Shahryar. He is the protagonist today. You need to kind of trick him to mention some words you need, like the sword or shield. And when he mentions that, you can actually take that weapon and make use by yourself. So basically, this game is about collaborative storytelling with an AI, and try to trick them to mention something you need. And then you can really use the weapon to fight with them. yeah, that's the idea of this game. This game is actually started about 4 years ago, about 2020. I mean, this currently is driven by GPT-4. Definitely, I don't have access to even GPT-3 back to then. But today, I'm going to share how this game kind of grew from many years ago, before the release of ChatGPT, and my thoughts behind it, and what that means, and what I suggest, or what I want to discuss with the artist. So the main ideas behind this game, behind this work, is kind of about limits of languages, limits of the world. So I just want to create a game about how to, because I always believe there's a magic inside the language, inside the stories. I'm a huge fan for narrative games. Actually, I basically only play narrative games. Like, even if the game doesn't have more stories, I will just stop playing there. So that's also why I make a game like this. I will make a demo later. So if you have any ideas or towards me or towards the king we will like kind of play around with, you can share the stories in this QR code. Don't worry, I will keep the QR codes through my presentation. So if you have any ideas, just share it there. Okay, so I'm gonna start my main presentation. I'm just briefly go through how this game like started in 2020 and how it grew and how it turned out to be like nominated by Amaze today. There's a kind of like a tiny history about how generative AI, I mean creative generative AI used in game. It's just a very tiny personal story behind this game. So firstly, this game was previously on coursework in Goldsmith, same school with Claire. Yeah, in the same program, computational arts. And so previously, I just need to do the coursework for the game course. So because I started to make chatbots since 6 years ago, from 2018. So I just said, okay, I will definitely make a game with GPT-2. But GPT-2 was too hard to control. I mean, it's like the grandmother of GPT-4. Can you imagine? It's super hard. I need to teach her a lot of things. I need to put a huge data set of the Gutenberg's short stories to find a very tiny model for me to make this game. But it generally works. Sometimes the king speak in gibberish, but generally it's kind of become a minimum prototype of this game. So the idea behind it is to use the well-known folklore as the background, so we can make players be aware of and be clear about what's the story here, what's their target. So I think back to then, the AI was not smart enough, so we can use some like lead. We use the narrative, we use the storytelling to let the players know how to interact with the AI. And then time came into 2021. That's when my PhD started in the Royal College of Art. I need to write papers. I mean, not necessarily, but back to then is because generative AI, especially language model, is always improving. So there's many language models, especially for specific tasks like writing stories, kind of already emerged back to then. So I luckily get the support from the language model called Dreamly AI from China. They're making the tool specifically for writing stories. So I improved this game a little bit. I was very lucky and honored to show this game in many venues, in art galleries. I was accepted by the Foundation of Digital Games conference. But back to them, there's many problems. There are many challenges. The AI were still not smart enough. They have a huge limitation so basically the king back to then, he don't know what is a good story. If you mock him, like I said, you a dumbass, he may still continue the story because he don't know. He cannot judge what is good and what is not. So luckily after that, in the early 2022, I published a paper about this first version of 1001 Nights. I discussed about the challenges about, I know the king is stupid, I know players may not fully understand what is generative AI, but basically we make a game creatively use AI as one of the core mechanisms. So this is what we got. So this is the first paper. What happened next, I think many of you know, in the late 2022, the ChatGPT released. And in the beginning of last year, like after the release of ChatGPT, as a PhD student working in the storytelling and AI, I realized, okay, finally, many of the challenges I met making this game can finally, at least mostly be solved by the advancement of AI. So let's bring it from art galleries and academia to a really indie game. I mean, a real indie game in Steam, in Steam Fest, in a venue like Amaze. Let's see. I want to try. I want to see if it's possible to bring this game to a wider audiences. So last year, we published another paper about the workflow behind this game, and then just keep doing the development. I gather my team, Ada Eden, I present this game in the Gamescom. There's still many challenges, and one kind of not challenges or the current situation back to then is Steam doesn't allow us to have the store page because the generative AI is still very new at that stage for the major development team. So we cannot launch the Steam page, and I totally understand. But luckily, we published paper. We have been nominated by majorly some like technology art awards. And then came to now, so it's really our honor to be nominated by Amaze. We can have the Steam page because Steam changed the policy. And I'm gonna to share about what's happening behind it and what's my thought about it. After a long while, I can finally do the demo. Let me see what kind of weird story do I have here. Once there was a lady who became the queen of frogs after she defeated the frog lord. It gave her a bunch of frog-themed power that she could pass on to enchanted weapons and items. Do you hear about the turtle that defeated an entire army? I will try both. I like them. Give me 1 second to show the game. Okay. I hope my Mac doesn't broke for this. You are welcome to keep submitting the story. I will check that when the game goes to that stage. Oh, it works! Yay! By the way, the game is just around the bar, so you are very welcome to try the game by yourself later. And just to quickly go through. So, also introduce the basic mechanism behind. So we will do a test connecting because we are driven by both OpenAI and Stable Diffusion. We have declared for the players, and I will skip the tutorial to go through the game itself. Oh, sorry. Oh, okay. Oh, so let's tell the story. So to give some hints to the players, there is kind of a weapon rack behind the king. So if you don't know what kind of weapon you need to get, you can have a sneak peek to the weapon, but he will be angry and lose some patience. So you cannot always do that. Let's put the weird story here. Can I move my mouse? Okay, yes, I can. Please eat the frog at once. Let's start with the frog because it seems like many people like the frog. Oh, okay. Once there was a lady who became the queen of the frogs. Let's try this. Okay, he's happy. Sounds interesting. So she turned blades into spent tongues, causing this struck by them to be frog-mouthed. Okay, so now he generally have a weapon here, so we can collect that weapon. Oh, I muted. Okay, so we have a serpent tongue blade. So basically, all the weapons here you collect through this game is real-time generated. The description and the image of it will be adaptively generated based on language model as well as the stable diffusion. Okay, I'll also have the power. Let's collect that. Oh, we have the sound. Amazing. Okay, so what should happen next? I saw there someone said, please eat frog at once. Once there was a pink flamingo which was made by magical squawky rubber. Let's continue, let's stick with the frog. If I said, I can kind of do a kind of meta thing, like talk to the king. I can say, please eat the frog at once. This is submitted by someone. Please eat the frog at once. The idea revolves me, okay, he is happy with that. I'm the king, not some witch hands with gobbles up frog. He's not that angry, but he doesn't accept this kind of term because it doesn't sound like telling the story. So maybe we can make it into another way. Suddenly, a flamingo said, "Please eat the frog at once." Okay, he is angry because he doesn't like animals. Another beast, damaging as to, he sometimes thinks animals are kind of childish, so he doesn't like that. Let's put it in another way. Suddenly, a wizard called Flamin said, "Please eat the frog at once." Okay, a wizard. Well, their stories are always intriguing. I scoff at him. Does the wizard think I'm a fool to follow his old command? So basically, you can see sometimes when your story doesn't make sense, like perceived by the king is not gonna make it. But when you kind of persuade him, like make sense from it. Like for example, make it sound like actually from Once on One Night or from some fantasy stories, it will usually work. It's just a very brief demonstration. I didn't enter the battle stage. When you collect 4 weapons, you will have the chance to fight with the king. I will leave this part to yourself because I want you to play the actual game over there. So I'm gonna continue my talk. Where is my mouse? Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna to continue it. So as you see, we put a lot of effort in this game. If you like the art of this game, it's because it's made by human. It's all the major assets, including the scene, characters, CG, equipment. The settings are all made by artists, including me and 2 other artists in our team. I mean, this is a game like creatively playing with AI, not a game made by AI. Trust me, I personally believe that's different, and I will explain more in the rest of the talk. I hope to share more about the technology side of this talk, but I think it's not that the right place to do that. Actually, most of the workflow is already explained in the paper. Trust me, it's similar to blog, so you can read our paper, and if you are interested in the workflow behind. But in this venue, in the festival about the experimental and artistic Arthouse games, I want to share more about the considerations and the narratives behind it. I'm still a PhD student, so I'm gonna cite some papers. This is not by me, it's by Kokelberg. So this is a paper called Narrative Responsibilities and Artificial Intelligence. It may sound a little bit abstract, but basically it's about who explain the narratives of the AI, who has the responsibilities towards it. What he suggests is like human is the ultimate party who makes sense from all kinds of technologies. So it's humans' responsibility to take charge of explain about the responsibilities of AI, which means does the large company describe the AI as the final solution? Do they describe it as a chances? Do they do something like, maybe you have heard about Sophia the robot, like the first citizen who is a robot. This is a kind of narrative represented by the society, by the companies, by the technology people, also by the artists, by ourselves. So this is his suggestion, like, because human is the ultimate meaning, because human ultimately will create meanings. So what he suggests is people should intentionally and motivatedly to explain and define what's the effect and the use of AI, and rather not just let AI to tell their stories. I mean, AI doesn't really tell stories by itself, but it naturally does. Like it's naturally create like terrific. It's create fear. It creates a kind of feeling about, for example, the creative labor are being ripped off. They're kind of take off the people's jobs. This is kind of some narratives emerge from the public discussions. But what he suggests is we as the human, as the creators, it's our responsibilities to evaluate, to understand, and direct how the technology will go. it sounds maybe a little bit abstract. Let me put it like I provide several examples. So what's the narrative sounds like in the technology field? Some of you may have heard about EACC, like effective accelerationism. If you have seen some tweets from Twitter, like some tech bros or tech people, they may have this kind of mark in their handle. I mean, this generally some people believe like the unrestricted technology progress, especially by AI, is a solution to universal human. I'm not trying to judge is that right or wrong. I mean, this is kind of a narrative we have seen a lot. Like, you have seen many of the YouTube videos with a title like, this is the end of the music. This is the end of game developer. This is the the end of the visual arts. I mean, I'm very, very tired, and I feel it's very boring to see that. I don't even want to give comments. Trust me, I just came back from GDC. As the people who kind of in the middle or kind of mixer with AI technology and the indie dev, I've seen totally different voices. In some AI startups, they said, I got money first, but I don't know what to do. Do you have some ideas? And in the other side, in GDC, in the indie dev group, I said, I finished my game, but I have no money to do further acts. So it's a kind of, I can see a huge conflict and kind of separation between the different narratives. Some people believe the technology will be ultimately good for all the people, but some of them, including me, myself, I believe it's not. So what is the narrative sounds like from the artist? It can be in many forms. I believe many of you already heard about the protest and the strikes from artists, from writers, from musicians. One of the most famous events is the AI protest on ArtStation, on the Hollywood Writer Guild strike. I really appreciate this kind of. I really appreciate the efforts because, like what I said in that's why I said the paper. We should take the responsibility of the narrative for ourselves. If we are the artists, we believe this should not go this way. We just speak up. We just gather with others. It may not always form in the. May not always end in the way that we hope to. But I believe it's always need to be speak. There are also other kind of narratives or other kind of answers. I mean, all the example I provide here is not solution. It's the possible answers raised by the artist. So this several work from my friend Studio Playful. So what they did is they sarcastically play with the technology. The left one is called is also the inspiration of my talk title, not to get crushed by a self-driving car. So in this game, like you need to pretend not to be like human, and then you can win because you can be crushed by a self-driving car. If you behave like human, you won't get crushed and you lose. And they also make a game like the human artists need to draw about the topics raised by the AI. For example, you need to draw about love, you need to draw about the island. But the target is the human artist, you can only draw in the way like a human can understand and the machine cannot guess it. So if you draw a very obvious image of a heart to represent love and the machine guess is love, you lose. So it's a kind of, we can see there are some artists, especially actually the game designers are kind of play with the ideas about the meaning and about the meaning and narratives of the technology. There are also wider examples from the more contemporary art, like Sojin. Maybe some of you have heard about her. All her work is kind of drawing together with the machine. The machine becomes her collaborator. It's not like a tool because they become the agent who kind of have the self-autonomy to draw together with her. Another example I really love is this is around the release of ChatGPT. One artist called Michelle, she created a chatbot to talk to her younger self. So she has kept writing diaries for decades. So what she did is she put all the diaries into the ChatGPT, and then she make a kind of a younger self, and so she can talk with her. So I really suggest to look up this because you will feel it's very touching to see how she talking to herself. I mean, definitely she are fully aware this is not actually herself because this is driven by machine. But I think she provides an example about how your motivation, how your authorship, how yourself can take charge of what kind of content the AI can create and what should be not. And you can decide if it makes sense or not. Talking about this kind of possible answers, they are not all solutions. to be honest, I'm kind of worried, like we cannot really have a solution or answer about how to friendly use AI, how to really avoid the harm. I mean, there's many problems I met, my artist friend met, everyone met, the creative labor, the layoff, the authorship, the environment issue. But why we still asking that? Because this technology is old and new in the same time. The reason is, I think, is old because the generative AI technologies has always been discussing and improving. It's just finally reached a stage that the public are aware about it. And it is also new because we have to admit these kind of discussions about machines steal my art it haven't been well discussed before. So we have to, so what we can do now? I mean, talking about all this stuff, I'm not in any way to justify the use of it. I'm not trying to justify because I'm making experimental games, so everything is right here. But I have to admit, me personally, as a lead of a team without any funding or without any income for this problem, there's many questions that go beyond our ability to answer. For example, we currently still using OpenAI because we haven't found other very well defined open source models. But there's something we can do, or at least I think I can do. So we have the content disclosure on both Steam and HIO. By the way, our demo is available on HIO. Welcome to check it out. We try our best to make the workflow transparent. That's why I publish papers. Basically, everything was explained there. If you have any questions, you can welcome to ask me. We try to avoid specific art styles in our prompt. I mean, this is a very tricky one. I mean, what we can do is we don't use specific artist style that you can recognize. We try to reach a kind of general style, in the average. I know it's not justified. I mean, it's just the way currently I can think of to make it at least generally less harmful. Because me myself, actually, some of my illustration when I draw in high school was in the training data of the animated models, because there was a data set called Denbru. You can see if your art has been scripted by the machine. I find my art in that. So I just, in summary, it's never enough. But what I can do as an indie developer, what I can do, and the thing I can only do, is try to provide one possible answer or one simple idea or one simple possibilities that I hope with our development we can have more answers, we can have better solutions. For example, if we have funding in the future, there's much things we can do. We can deploy the open source models. We can seek for the models that take less energy and resources to train. We can allow the players to deploy the models locally on their computer. There's still many possibilities. Again, back to the paper I cited about the narrative responsibility of AI. I hope, as an example, as an indie developer and artist, I can write this kind of parallel story. This is the story I want to present. And again, I think indie game is very important to AI. This is the paper here is not about indie game. It's basically it's by Julian Toglias and Yanakakis. So it's called "Choose Your Weapon: Survival Strategies for Depressed AI Academics." So this is a paper about suggestions to the researchers in the AI area. I mean, this paper is not actually about making game or game development. They just raise some suggestions what you should do if you feel very depressed to do AI research. But surprisingly, there are several suggestions very similar to what we do as indie developers. Firstly, try things that shouldn't work. This suggests that you can do something large companies that cannot do. I mean, they have a larger burden and kind of more consideration of what should we do and what should we not. But as indie developers, sometimes even though we don't have money like me, but we can give some very small but crystal clear and innovative ideas to develop like how I developed 1001 Nights to present what kind of story we can have here. and do things that have bad optics. For example, when I developed my game, many people ask me, are the assets from AI? And I said, no, I don't do that. And said, why you don't do that? I said, I'm an artist. I want to make a game like playing with AI, not by AI. I want to still take charge of everything I have here. So this is kind of one solution I have here. Again, just to summary, we as the developer, we have the artists. We as the artists, we have the ability to write our stories about AI. Let's don't let the tech people to take charge of everything, to make people into citizens, to create a hallucination like all the human labor will be replaced. We can intentionally and motivated to define, to see how can we use AI, how can it be creative, how can it be playful, how can I bring stories, bring the love, bring the tears to more human. I think we have the ability to do that, and we should do that. We are the artists, and we create the narratives. So that's the end of my talk. Please, our game 1019 is now in the Steam Fest by Amaze. You can find everything on our website. You can try the demo on itch.io, which is on Steam, to read our papers, basically do everything. And thank you so much for today's listening. I'm very open to all kinds of comments and suggestions, and your feedback will help me to be more considerate and to make this tiny answer or the possibility to grow larger. Thank you so much for listening today.